Hello again, and welcome to episode 115. Oh, hold on. Sorry, the audio was all screwed up, so let's try that again. Hello again, and welcome to episode 159 of SDGC for Thursday, August 22nd. If you're not aware, Super Informed Gamescast meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, community game streaming, a mental health support show, and a bi-weekly morning show every other Friday. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a subscription. Every single podcast is archived the following weekend on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch. And you can find us on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. And before we start tonight, excuse me, that was ill-timed. Before we get going,
disgusting, John.
I know, I'm gross. I'm a gross guy. I'm like almost 40, Red. What do you expect? My lungs are filling with phlegm. Like I've got liver spots appearing. Like
Dad.
I'm nasty now. But we do want to send our condolences to all the individuals at Game Informer who were laid off. I've been following Game Informer for a very long time, and of course, everybody that was let go is extremely talented, and I am super confident that everyone will find work again in the industry. But our hearts go out to you, and we hope that you're able to get back on your feet soon. Seriously.
Make a heart. Yeah.
Reb.
That's what I got.
So, how is everybody tonight?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm pretty good. I'm tired.
Justin, do you want to show your kitty? Do you want to show everybody in chat your?
Oh, sure. I don't know if you can see him because the video is not
yeah,
working
no,
on
there
my
he is.
end.
Hi, Zeke.
Uh-huh.
His name is Zeke.
So
I have
funny.
named him
Right.
Zeke.
I can see him fine.
Yeah, he's right there. Look at that.
I think
likes-
that he looks extremely judgmental all the time.
He
which
really
is
does,
hilarious.
yeah.
He does, but he's nice.
Oh.
He's a good kitty, man.
Yeah, he likes to hang out on the table right next to me when I do the show. So
We're just acquiring more and more pets. Brandon, do you have any pets?
I grew up with a cat, but now I don't have one.
Oh, you should first get a pet and then get a webcam. And then if you don't want to be on the camera yourself, just point the webcam at your pet for the
Just
whole
have
podcast.
a
And we'll all
dog.
be so happy.
Just Brandon should get a hamster or a gerbil, and then just
Why?
point the camera at the hamster or gerbil for the entire podcast.
No, get a dog. I want to look at a
No,
dog.
I don't like dogs.
Get a cat. Get a cat. Podcast cat. Podcast.
I guarantee you, Reb is in rare form tonight. I guarantee you, if Brandon got a cat, he'd name it Cloud or Sephiroth or something. Podcats.
My chocobo in Final Fantasy 14 is named Cloud. So
My chocobo is named.
you're not
Corwin.
wrong.
I was thinking about that today. I've got cats named Robo and Luca after the Chrono
Yeah,
Trigger
there you
characters.
go. Those are good names.
And I think, I don't want to think about them ever dying because they're my light, but at some point they will. It's going to happen. And so I think that, assuming I get more cats in the future, I'm just going to keep it up and keep naming them after Chrono Trigger characters until I go through the whole party.
That's a solid fucking strategy.
Nice.
I think it's a really good strategy. The thing is, I don't want to name one Chrono because it's like the most obvious one, but at some point I'm going to get to Chrono.
well, you're also going to have to name one Frog at one point.
That's
you
great.
go.
That's the best cat. I have a cat named Robo. What is that? And it's like a lady cat too, because Robo. I mean, it doesn't matter, but they're cats, they don't care. But Robo is coded as a male name, and so because it ends in an O, and so people always think that Robo's a guy cat. And I'm like, no, that's just what her name is.
You know, Reb, talking about Chrono Trigger, so I was playing Dragon Quest 9S on Switch the other night.
That's not the same game.
Oh, no. I know.
It's not the same.
But
Dragon
Akira
Quest
Toriyama,
sucks.
of course, does the artwork.
That's true.
And I had a dream last night that Square Enix remade Chrono Trigger with that high-res, colorful Toriyama art that we see in the Dragon Quest games. And I'm not gonna lie, it was I woke up sad that it didn't exist.
No, I don't want anyone to remake Chrono Trigger.
It looked really good in my dreams, Reb.
I don't want. No, why would you take a sprite-based top-down 2D game and turn it into a 3D adventure? Everyone thinks that that's a good idea, but it's not a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea 20 years ago, but yeah, not anymore.
I genuinely
after
think
actually experiencing these remakes for myself.
Link's Awakening is cute. It's still Link's Awakening is still top down. I mean, for the most part, like there's parts that aren't. But that was that way in the original game. But it's also it's super
look what they did with
stylized.
the Secret of Mana remake. Like I don't want.
Yeah.
The Secret of Mana remake is garbage.
Yeah, that's my example for why this is a bad idea. But the thing about Link's Awakening that I think is going to make it work is that it's super stylized, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think.
Well, it's also like Reb. It's also like a it's like a 1-to-1 recreation of the original game. Like it is Link's Awakening. Like it's just it's much prettier.
It's cute.
You know, I can't fucking wait for that game.
You know what? You know what they need to fucking remake in HD?
What's that?
Mario fucking Sunshine, bitches. Mario Sunshine's so good, John. Did you actually play it?
Yes, I have. I've played every Mario game.
I love it so deeply.
I like Sunshine a whole lot. I know that's an unpopular opinion for some reason, but I like Sunshine a whole lot.
It was so much fun. I have like a deep, warm, sunny spot in my heart for Sunshine, and basically everything on the GameCube because that was my first home console that I owned.
Same.
And Sunshine was just so much fun. It was so bright and silly and colorful, and I loved it. And I can't go back and play Mario 64. I understand why people love that, but it's too clunky for me to go back and play because I didn't play it originally, so I don't have that nostalgia.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I like the first Mario Galaxy. I don't like it as much as Sunshine. I don't like Galaxy 2. I don't think it did anything particularly interesting. And I
love the Galaxy games.
I like them okay. They're fine. But Sunshine!
Like, so I think if there was an older Mario game, like an older 3D Mario game that could benefit from some updated, some crisper visuals and an overhauled control scheme, I do think it would be Sunshine. Like, I don't think Sunshine is a bad game. I don't. Like, I don't think there is a bad 3D Mario or a 3D Mario game. I don't think there is.
There's not really.
But I just like I prefer the. I don't know. I'm with Justin. Like, there's something that's so epic about the Galaxy games, especially in Galaxy 1 when you're fighting Bowser at the end. You've got that chorus going, and it's so good. But I don't know.
Sunshine's just like so ridiculous, right? Like the final boss fight is Bowser in a hot tub. Like, what the hell? It's so good.
We've actually got a neat Mario question from one of our viewers to answer later in the podcast. I'm looking forward to that one.
Does it have anything to do with nipples?
It does not actually, but don't.
I'm here to talk. I'm here for the nipple debate.
I have had literally hundreds of notifications on Twitter today about Wario's nipples. I'm not even kidding.
So yeah, no, like Wario's nipple. So I don't see any nipples. I don't. There's no nipples there.
Yeah. So there's a thing going on, right? Like I asked yesterday, and I had people in my mentions about it, and some people are saying there are no nipples, and some people are saying there are. It's right in between, right? Like there are like raised areas where nipples should be. God. Like his flesh is making the shape like where the nipple should go, but there's no actual nipple attached
There's no I don't even so I've been following this. I had a really busy day at work today, but I was following this as best as I could.
Why?
And because,
John, one part of that sentence is a lie. Because either you were busy at work today or you were following debates about Wario's nipples. Like, both parts of those cannot be true.
No. So I took as much time as I could to follow the Nipplegate that has to do with Wario. So it's almost like a Jesus painting, right? Like some people are like, if you stare hard enough, you can see Wario's nipples. And I'm looking at it, and I don't fucking see anything, and I feel like I'm going crazy.
There's legit
okay. So literally, they're very lightly textured, as far as I can tell.
Wario's nipples are so lightly textured.
Yes. So depending on how compressed the screenshots you're looking at are, it can be almost invisible. But if you get like a good PNG, yeah, you can see them.
He has breasts.
We are the fucking
he does
authority
not have
on
nipples.
Wario's nipples here.
He has breasts.
What if Wario's nipples were 8-bit? Like the rest of his body is high definition, but his nipples are just 8-bit.
Why would it? Why?
Why not?
No, but why?
I'm just asking.
Kids love the throwback.
I'm looking at a fucking picture of it right now. I pulled up a picture of Wario here. I don't see any. Reb, what are you talking about? I don't see shit.
Link me the picture. I don't know. I'm not staring at Wario's nipples as we have this conversation.
I am.
Okay, Justin, can you throw the link in there?
Yeah,
okay.
Please throw the link into Discord for me.
I'm sorry about your wife. Person in chat.
I'm
to
not.
quote from my wife, I didn't want to hear this.
Sorry.
Super nipple maker. That's actually a really interesting question. Nintendo, can we add Wario's nipples to Mario Maker?
Okay. I think the actual issue here is that we've established in Mario Odyssey that Mario has nipples, and we're all fine with that.
He absolutely has nipples, yes.
He has nipples, that's great. And we would this is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2020 in Tokyo or whatever that's called. And if they put no nipples on anyone, that would be a little bit weird, but we'd all be fine with it, right? Because this isn't Mario Odyssey. It's not like the same level of detail and exuberance as like a mainline Mario game. But the problem is in the screenshot, Wario is standing next to Dr. Eggman from the Sonic games. And they're both, is it Robotnik? I don't remember.
I say Robotnik because it sounds
Robotnik's
better.
Mega Man.
It's Eggman now.
And Eggman is Sonic. Sorry.
It's Dr. Wily.
What the fuck? Who are these
Dr.
people?
Wily is Mega
Dr.
Man.
Wily's Mega Man.
Dr. Wily's Mega Man.
Dr. Wily.
Who's Robotnik then?
Robotnik is the original. Okay, so
no,
it's a translation thing.
It's Eggman in the United
States.
It's the same
guy. It's the same.
Okay. So it's still Eggman.
Yes.
What a stupid name. Sorry.
Yeah, but you're right. Robotnik.
I don't write about video games.
Robotnik is the better name. Yes.
I don't fucking know what I'm doing. Anyway, Dr. Eggman is standing next to Wario, and they are both shirtless because I presume they have just participated in a swimming event. And Eggman has very clear, like John, you can see Eggman's nipples, correct?
Yes, I can absolutely. They're very
can see like
they're
very
defined.
Defined
yes.
nipples.
Oh my god.
And Wario has questionable nubs.
He just has fleshy mounds where his nipples should be.
Yes.
And I don't like, so this begs the question, is Wario even human? Or is he like some weird troll? Is he like a weird creature? Because
I don't know. But here's the one thing that I truly believe. We don't have evidence of this yet from these pictures, but I truly believe that Waluigi, all nipple. He's
just one nipple.
Giant nipple.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not like clear when he has his clothes on, but he's gonna come out with like shirtless, and we're all gonna look at him, and for a second we're gonna be like, wait, what's his nipple situation? And then our eyes are gonna widen, and we're gonna wait. I see it now. This whole time he's just been one giant nipple.
So here,
yeah, it's been right in front of us the whole time.
You know what? I've got a theory to throw at everybody. Okay.
Oh no.
So everybody has observed the color of Wario's nose, right? We see on his chest that he has no nipples. What if he's actually not human? What if some weird creature and his nose is his nipple?
Will you stop insulting my Wario like this?
I'm asking the fucking questions that need to be asked.
The next WarioWare game is going to be really weird.
What were we talking about again? Wario's nipples?
So want to talk Gamescom?
All right, fine. Let's talk about Gamescom. Although I guarantee you we'll find a way to circle it back to Wario's nipples at some point.
The real disappointment here is that Derek couldn't be on the show tonight, so we couldn't get him to, one, dress up as I almost said dress up as Derek. One, dress up as Wario. And two, demonstrate to us whether or not Wario has nipples.
Well, his Wario costume does not have nipples. I do know that.
I think what Reb means is that like Derek just puts on the Wario hat and then takes his shirt off and says, "There, debate's over. Wario's got nipples."
Yeah, Derek's like the most attractive person on this podcast. So
I mean, like behind me, but yeah, I agree with you completely.
Sure, John.
So anyway, no, Derek is a handsome man. He's definitely got the most baritone voice.
Yeah, it's the voice.
Yeah, he's got a voice that can make a Wolverine purr. So his voice is like a honeyed potion being poured into your ear.
Oh my god!
It is. That's what it is.
Sweet elixir.
We're gonna tell him.
It's like a honeyed. We're
gonna tell him you were like speaking seductive words about him on the podcast.
So I hope he hears it. Derek. Your voice is like rich, silky, melted chocolate poured into my ear. That's what it's like, Derek. I'm just being real with you, man.
All right.
I'm just being real. All right, Gamescom.
The entire podcast has a crush on Derek.
Yeah, of course. Gamescom. What do we think? So I want to start with Justin. Let's start with Justin. Justin, give me one highlight from Gamescom. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what game. What jumped out? What when you're thinking about Gamescom, what jumps out at you the most right now?
So we found out what Death Stranding was. That was fun.
Yes, please let's talk about that.
That wasn't even in the Gamescom trailer.
That's true. That was
some other guy.
That was the behind closed doors demonstration.
We're gonna count it.
We gotta plug that. Keep talking. I'm pulling this up because this guy did good work. He found out the question that we were all asking.
We gotta count this.
that story. So there was a behind closed doors showing that actually.
Okay, I have it in front of me. Sorry, I will let you. I will let you go uninterrupted. It's called "I Have Seen Death Stranding at Gamescom, and I finally understand what's going on." It's by Josh West. Go give it a read. Sorry, go Justin.
So what we saw was Keighley had about a 10-minute introduction for Kojima himself, and then two character introduction trailers, and then a gameplay demo, which just involved Norman Reedus waking up, taking a piss with how many milliliters he had in his bladder, measured on screen, delivering some boxes to a hologram of Jeff Keighley, and falling off a cliff and making a baby cry, and then having to shake it to make the baby feel better. And that was what we saw.
So like I was told, and I can tell you right now, as a father, don't ever shake your baby. You should never shake a baby.
Do not shake. You don't even need to tell us that as a father. Like I have never had a child. I have never seriously considered giving birth to a child or adopting one or doing anything with a child. But I know you don't shake a baby. You should not.
Yeah, Kojima's giving you bad advice. Like this is real bad.
Okay, the baby is in a pod. It's fine.
That makes it all
the baby is in a pod, suspended in liquid. It's cool.
Is it a baby or a BB?
It's a baby. It itself is a baby. The whole thing is a BB.
The whole thing is the BB pod. Yes,
it's the BB pod. Okay, so I have heard people describe this game as a walking simulator. Is that what this is?
Fucking opinion about this. Okay, yes. So if you read the I Have Seen Death Stranding at Gamescom and I finally understand what's going on article, it explains like what the gameplay of this game is. And the gameplay of this game, as far as this person understands it from one demo, again, understanding that, yes, I know there was shooting in the trailer, understanding that we have not seen the full game, the main bulk of this game is walking from place to place and activating these like communicator modules to connect the United States again after some cataclysmic event or whatever. That's the game. It's walking around an environment and talking to people. And there's been this whole like ongoing thing, like if you call that an exploration game, for a while, walking sim was, and some people do still consider that kind of a derogatory term because it started as a way where people would like kind of insultingly talk about these exploration games, and they'd say, "Oh well, it's a walking sim. It's not a real game. It's just you're just walking around. That's not actually anything." But some people thought it was cheeky and funny, and now walking sim has kind of gotten a softer tone to it. And I was like, yeah, it's a walking sim. Like it's fine with that. But
I hope it is. I mean, walking sims are great.
Yeah, and there was shooting in one of the trailers, like there may be other forms of gameplay, whatever, but it seems like the primary gameplay is walking around, and that's fine. But I'm like kind of peeved about this a little bit because I have like a super soft spot in my heart for indie games and like little tiny studios doing really cute things and cool things. And like games where you walk around and explore and talk to people, that's been a fucking thing for years, like fucking decades even. That's like old as dirt. And people have been like so down on it. Like walking sim was like a derogatory way to refer to those kinds of games for the longest time. And there was like this huge dismissal of them as not being real games. And then fucking Hideo Kojima comes along, and I know he's done great work. I know he's probably like a good human being and a good artist who does, good shit. But he comes along and he's like, I have invented a new genre of game. It's called Strand
game. It's a Strand game.
It's new. And everyone goes, oh, a new genre. And they lose their shit for this thing and they don't know what it is. And what could it be? It's a whole new genre of game. And then he shows it to them and we get this article and people are still so excited about it. And I'm like, I'm going to laugh so fucking hard if Kojima, like, suddenly magically, if everybody just loses their shit for this and it's like, oh, we invented a brand new genre, it's amazing, and they think it's amazing, and then all these indie devs are going to be like, what the fuck? And I get it, like, I'm sure I actually think Death Stranding now, that article, I think it looks good. Like, now that I know what the loop of the game is, I think it sounds good. I might consider playing it after reading that article, honestly, now that I know what it is.
So I am really intrigued about how it's going to flow, because like we've definitely seen a lot of survival elements in there. Like even the pissing thing was like, oh, this is, a bodily function you need to take care of. Like in your journey, we've seen like Sam pulling stuff out of his toe, kind of like in expanding some of the survival elements from Metal Gear Solid 3. I mean, we know there's the whole terrorist group. There's like the World War I Battlefield thing.
Troy Baker's group.
Yeah, yeah, Troy Baker and Mad Mikkelsen's group. We know there's giant monsters. Like, I imagine what we've seen is probably the very early part that is more focused on hiking, and I feel
it'll go places.
Like, because it's like he said, you're going from east to west. So I feel like as you go further west, things are going to kind of get messier and messier.
You're playing Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. That came out like what, last year, whatever.
Yeah, but like I think it sounds interesting. Like, I mean, we probably could have gotten this description of what the game is more than 3 months before the game's coming out. But I mean, I enjoy the kind of game that he plays with the audience and the marketing, and I know it annoys some people. It's fun to me. It's different than like all the traditional market tested AAA marketing that I've seen. Like, I mean, I know people could complain about the marketing, but I think the game looks cool, and I want to check it out.
I do think it was fun too. I think it was dragged out like way longer than it needed to be. I would have. There was a time, and this is why I'm salty about this. Like, this is the main reason. Shortly after, I think because he announced it. Didn't he announce it at a Game Awards?
He announced it at E3. It was E3 2016. It was announced.
Okay, it was the fall.
He literally didn't even have an engine. I thought it was made a trailer.
Oh, I remember that. They gave him like the pro wrestling entrance, and he came down the ramp. And I do remember that.
I think all that's a little weird. I think it was kind of fun and silly after he left Konami. I think at this point, like the trailer that Keighley showed of him at the opening night live was a little much. That's the kind of trailer I would expect to see after someone had won a very prestigious award for making something incredible, or doing years of work, like the years of work in the industry or something, which Kojima has done. But he's spent the last 3 or 4 years working on this game that we have not seen yet. And so it felt like a lot. But the thing that I'm upset about is that he announced that thing at E3, right? He had that trailer, and it was very weird and vague. And a lot of trailers at E3 are weird and vague the very first time. So I'm like, okay, whatever. This is going to be weird, cool. And then we got like nothing about it, and that's fine. But then there's an event where I think it was Keighley. It might have been Keighley. It might have been day 9. But it was somebody who interviewed him. And it was like in the fall or like early winter after that first E3 trailer. And it was set up, like I went in, I was reporting on it as a freelancer, and I went in there expecting to get the first details about what the game is. And what I was basically expecting is for him to say something like, oh yeah, it's an action RPG, or oh yeah, it's a first person shooter. And here's kind of the very bare bones of the plot, like real broad, like barely any information, but just like little bit. And what came out of it was an hour-long conversation with whoever this host was about the philosophy behind the logo for Kojima Productions. And that's what the whole talk was. And I was just bored shitless. And I was so upset about it. And I'm just like, why can't you just say what your fucking game is? I think at
that point, like literally, like I said, they didn't even have a game engine at that point. I think there was nothing to talk about. There was definitely nothing to talk about with the game.
It's weird, and
it's weird, and I'm hoping that in the future, at least, like I don't mind the weird marketing. I think that stuff's fun. At least just don't drag it out as much in the future. I think.
Yeah, I think like 3 years was.
I think part of it was just, it was after he was leaving Konami. It was a big deal that he was going to be working with Sony. Like, I think they wanted to really capitalize on that, but like,
big time.
He should have gone quiet, I think, for longer before pulling out some of the stuff instead of just every event trying to do something.
I mean, it's a hype machine,
Yeah.
But I actually want to. I've been waiting all week to get Brandon's reaction to the pissing gameplay aspect of it, because I don't know why, but when I saw that, like, Brandon's.
I haven't seen the pissing. I saw the Jeff Keighley thing. I haven't seen the pissing.
You haven't seen the pissing, Brandon?
So Brandon, let me explain to you.
You can pee in the game. That's it.
Yeah, there's like a social aspect to it.
And where you pee grew a mushroom.
A mushroom.
And that will be other players will be able to see and interact with the mushroom.
And
let me tell you, I opened YouTube and I typed in Death Stranding peeing, and it is a well-covered topic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can find that easy.
Is. Like, well, and I love the social aspect of it. It's like okay, we're all gonna,
social aspect.
We're all gonna piss on the mushroom.
You can shake your partner.
Everybody piss on the mushroom. Like what is the point of the mushroom? Like, what does it actually do? When you pick the mushroom, what is the point of the piss mushroom?
I don't know.
Does it actually do anything, or like, when you interact with it,
it's probably an item for other players to pick up.
Like, do you eat it? I mean, do you
probably.
Do you hallucinate? Like,
I'm not eating 250 milliliters of urine.
I'm not eating a piss mushroom. I'm sorry. Not even in a
it
video.
Well, it literally has a urine counter.
It does.
250 milliliters.
And Brandon, honestly,
he's just spreading it all over the grass.
This is a level of immersion I can truly appreciate.
Oh, he peed on the mushroom, and now it's like doing something. Okay. Huh.
Reb, you fed up with this conversation?
Reb's like, I'm done.
God, a bunch of men talking about pissing contests.
I don't know. That's pretty stupid. I don't know.
So
I have another complaint.
So I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this, right? Like, I think I know what it is, Reb. So tell me if I'm kind of like hitting close to the mark here. Especially over the past week, like the extreme Kojima worship throughout the industry has been a little, I don't know, off-putting to me.
It's kind of funny that people are focusing on that, because I feel like people have more been trying to tear him and anybody that's excited for this game down than anything else.
You follow on Twitter.
Because everybody I see is like people that I'm excited for it, and I just see like a bunch of people that I respect usually just being like, if you think this looks good or interesting.
Well, yeah, we were.
I think the game looks good.
I think it looks fine.
Remember the Games Radar article? Someone came out with the Games Radar article, and they said, this is basically what the game is, and I read that, and I thought, I play that game. Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The best thing about the game for me right now are all the memes coming out of it. But I'm sure it'll be a good game.
Oh yeah, I still hold that like release week for this game, regardless of whether or not you're playing it, is just gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be so good. Twitter's already good because of Fire Emblem right now. Like, Fire Emblem is making Twitter excellent. This is gonna just dominate. But no, I have a different complaint.
Let's hear it.
And it's like maybe I don't want to get into this too detailed, but this is not. I think that maybe like the kind of obsession with Kojima, is like maybe a little excessive. It's like kind of weird, but it's also like internet culture. Like, culture is just kind of like that. Like, whatever. As long as it's not toxic, it's fine. But that's kind of part of it. Like, this industry doesn't have really any women who are recognized at the level that Kojima is, and that's not because they don't do good work. I think my theory is that if a woman had done the exact same work, that if all other things equal, if a woman were in Kojima's position, I don't think that she would have the same reception.
I agree.
At all. And yeah, Hennick is probably the most high profile. I don't think she could walk on stage.
Soul Reaver and Uncharted are not on the same level as Metal Gear Solid. So.
Right, but like I think, and I don't think that means that the way people are approaching Kojima is wrong. I do think. No,
you just wish there were more voices in the industry like that.
Yeah.
I do, and I wish that we didn't have like
been that close to being in the same position. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's true too with like people like Jeff Keighley, and hosts and like high profile individuals in this industry, like Phil Spencer walking up on stage. I know he's the head of Xbox or whatever, like whatever, but they're the people that walk out on stage that get these huge cheers, and these people who are just like so excited to see them are just unanimously men, and mostly white men, not all white men, obviously like Kojima, but like, again, it's just, well, and that's the other thing too, two-headed giant that you point out, like,
fragile,
I think Death Stranding definitely looks like a game that I would enjoy playing, but I do not trust Kojima's past representation of women, nor his current one. Like what was this thing? Oh yeah, look at my boobs in the trailer. Like, women don't fucking do that. Come on, man.
Well, not only that, but consider the fact that one of the male characters is named like Die Hard Man, and like the other female character is named Fragile, and it's like,
and Mama, God,
come
God,
on,
why?
come on.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into like the fucking inherent.
I'm not even totally sure if like Mama's name is totally Mama. It just might be how they refer to her in the script, because she just says I'm their mama. Like, when you meet her, I don't even know how big of a character she is. Like, it might just be fair. Like because like I think there's a lot of nicknames and stuff that he does.
Yeah, that's fair.
That like are I mean, Quiet is indefensible.
Quiet
is completely indefensible. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm going to be looking at it with a critical eye, but like, there are some very interesting things I've noticed about like motherhood and masculinity and stuff in some of these Death Stranding trailers. Like, a lot of times we've seen Regis' character crying. We've seen him like naked and vulnerable. We've seen him holding and singing to a baby and stuff like that. And I think there is going to be some of that in play, like contrasting the male characters and the female characters. And I think that stuff's really interesting. I'm not expecting it to always be handled well, but I think it's going to at least, be interesting. So I want to see everything else, in context, because there have been several female characters from Kojima that have been done well. But there's also been a number that were really bad.
Doesn't the boss get fridged? I don't know enough about MGS.
The boss?
Doesn't the boss get fridged?
Get what?
Like when you kill off a woman to motivate the man. Isn't that what happens? I don't know. I've not played MGS.
I think it's a hell of a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking out my ass on that one. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a really, really complex situation with the boss.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And I apologize for that one.
No, don't apologize. No. There's nothing to apologize for.
Imran's also right that like Ikumi Nakamura came on stage at E3 and everybody like fell in love with her. Like that was her first time on stage and everybody was just like, "Oh my god, she's great! Like she's so much fun."
Yeah, and I'd love to see more. I
hope that continues because that did seem like really wholesome, and I'm really excited to kind of see the end result of her work. And I hope that she continues to get that kind of positive reception. Like that was great. I am terrified that it will turn on her because this industry is sometimes a hellhole. But yes. maybe we can keep it going. Maybe we won't fuck this one up. Anyway, sorry. I do think Death Stranding looks good.
Yeah. So sorry. I could talk about a lot of that stuff for a really long time because like I think kind of the fun with Kojima, like even when there's a whole lot of weird philosophical bullshit, problematic stuff, really silly stuff, really fascinating stuff, and really clever stuff all mixed together. And a lot of times when people look at it, they look at, just the parts that they like or the parts that they didn't like, but it's that whole mess of it together that for good and for bad makes his games really distinct and entertaining for me. I don't know if that makes sense or if that's a great way to refer to it, but
I don't want to spend too much more time on Death Stranding just because we're a half hour in and over half an hour in, and there are some other topics to talk about. A lot of other stuff happened this week, and to be totally honest with you, aside from Death Stranding, there wasn't a whole lot at Gamescom that really leapt out at me. I'm excited for the Trials of Rana. I'm excited for the Trials of Mana remake because I love the Super Nintendo version of Trials. So I'm looking forward to that. But aside from Death Stranding, there wasn't anything that really struck me as memorable from Gamescom. But I think it's different because Gamescom is more for people who are there, on the show floor, experiencing these things firsthand, kind of like PAX.
It's like they're bringing E3 stuff to Europe.
Right, exactly.
A lot of it was updates on stuff from E3 or showing the behind closed door stuff from E3 publicly.
I will say that there was something really cool that came out of Gamescom this week, and that was the Dragon Quest 11S demo that dropped on Switch, and this motherfucker is 10 hours long. It's a legit. It's a 10-hour long demo, Brandon.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Because the game itself is 90 to 100 hours long, right? And your save data actually carries over to the game itself.
See, I've never played Dragon Quest before. I am really I'm gonna check out that demo because I've never played the series before, and I can play a good chunk of it for free. Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to look like it would on a PS4, but I'll tell you right now, on the Switch's little handheld screen, it looks great. It's colorful. The visuals pop, and the soundtrack. It's not that MIDI based crap on the PS4 version anymore. It's fully orchestrated, and it sounds so much better. It is fucking awesome. It's got that 2D mode, which is not available in the demo, but I've seen plenty of gameplay of that 2D mode, and it is just. I mean, for once, we're actually getting a definitive version of a game on Switch, which I think is absolutely great. When it comes to multi-platform titles, and Dragon Quest XI S is going to be fucking awesome. And Reb, I'm gonna move on because I know Reb could care less.
No, keep talking about the shit you like. I love that you like the shit you like.
but no, like the other thing that happened this week didn't even happen at Gamescom. And that was the acquisition of Insomniac by
God,
PlayStation.
the fucking middle. I'm watching Gamescom and I'm like watching at the other window, and this is like my job, right? It's during my work day. I'm like, all right, I got to report the news. But we're an industry site, so just straight up game announcements are not news for us. So I'm like halfway through the show, and I'm like, yeah, there's no news. And then all of a sudden, someone's tweeting in our DM. They're like, oh, they acquired Insomniac. And I'm like, that's a fucking joke, isn't it? It's a joke account. No, that's the news. We're just right in the middle of Gamescom. Whatever. Okay.
I love how a lot of people were like, Insomniac wasn't already part of Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the reactions to it were some of the most bizarre things, because I saw a lot of, wait, they weren't already? And then also a bunch of other people that seem to think Sunset Overdrive is now the most important IP that Insomniac has ever worked on. like all the
Reb,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You started.
Well, I was just going to say that all the Sunset Overdrive takes I saw were, Sunset Overdrive 2 is going to come to PS4, and now they're going to port no, guys, it's dead. Sunset Overdrive is fucking dead and buried. Like, it's not.
No, I think all the hot takes are ridiculous, but I do think there's like a genuine question about what happens to Sunset Overdrive now, because this is not. It's not a shitty IP. It's not an IP that doesn't sell.
They put out a PC version.
It's not. It's a good game. It's a fine game, but it did not sell. Like, it was a flop. Like, it sold extremely poorly. And now that Insomniac is owned by PlayStation, I guarantee they are locked into and so of course Microsoft owns the publishing rights of the first game and right of refusal on the sequel, so that's also a great point. But I also guarantee you, like I would love to see more Ratchet and Clank stuff, because I fucking love Ratchet and Clank, but I guarantee you Insomniac is locked into Spider-Man for the next 8 years.
I think people keep acting like there's only one Insomniac studio. There's the Burbank studio, there's the North Carolina studio, and then they also have a VR studio. Like, it's not just one studio, and we haven't heard from the North Carolina studio in a while. And they specifically, like, in an interview with Sean Layden, he said that Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank are two key IPs for the future. I think the North Carolina studio is going to be expanded a bit and work on Ratchet games. Burbank's going to be working on Spider-Man, and I think we're going to see, a fair amount of VR content as well. I think it's going to be a lot more than just Spider-Man. So obviously Spider-Man's the big thing.
Well, what happened? So here's my question. So Insomniac was originally responsible for Spyro. They did the Activision and Toys for Bob did the Reignited trilogy. Do we know what the current status of that IP is in terms of who owns it?
Activision
does flat out own it now. Nah.
I wouldn't be surprised. If we got another Resistance at some point.
I would love another Resistance.
I love another Resistance, because Resistance is an outstanding series of games. Real Shane J in chat says, I don't think we will see much more Spider-Man beyond maybe a sequel. Dude, we're absolutely getting 2 more Spider-Man games at the least. That's a given. Like, it's the highest selling Sony exclusive of all time now, I believe.
13.2 million copies in 11 months on one platform.
They're not turning the faucet off on that one. No, we are absolutely getting probably several more Spider-Man games.
Oh yeah.
Brandon,
but will it be Spider-Man or will it be Marvel's Spider-Man? Who can say?
That's another fucking shit show that happened this week. It's been a week for movie and game news. It really has. And obviously, this is a games podcast. We won't go into the whole Marvel and Sony brush up, other than to say we do not pick sides here, and both corporations are big and bloated and have a lot of money, and like we're not
Eat the rich.
Yeah, we're not gonna get
Sorry.
into that. But Brandon, did I hear you mention Ratchet and Clank? I wanted to make sure that you were able to...
Yeah, I mean, I think there will be. Yeah, definitely. Has there been one since that remake? That was like what?
No.
Yeah, okay, that one was the last one. Yeah,
No,
that'll be.
That remake also did way better than both
it
Sony
did.
and Insomniac were expecting. I'm pretty. Here's a bold prediction. We see a Ratchet and Clank game at the PS5 launch.
Yeah, I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. They're going to want a strong launch title, and I think
like a budget sort of one.
Yeah,
it's a good family-friendly title.
Yeah. I mean, so is
Knack. It'll be better than Knack.
Yeah, it'll be better than Knack. It's a family-friendly title. It would be a great game to pitch, like, CG graphics in real time, kind of thing. Like, and it's a known IP for PlayStation fans. Like, I think there's a very high likelihood of a Ratchet game early in the PS5 lifetime.
Waypoint Set in chat asks, "Does Ratchet have nipples?" Probably not. He's a Lomax. He's like a. I doubt it. Reb, would you like to take that question? Reb, hold on, wait. I'm curious. Reb, what are you drinking? What is this?
Screwdriver. She just made it on.
Hey, look, I'm paying attention to the engaging conversation. I'm sorry. Imran's right. It's a Lombax. A fucking Lomax. It's a fucking Lombax. I'm sorry. I'm having a brain fart today.
The fuck is a Lombax?
It's a space
Ratchet.
mammal. It's a space rat. It's a space.
Oh,
raccoon.
I wasn't sure if you were referring to Ratchet and or Clank or the drink I was drinking. I was like, is this a Lombax?
Yeah,
It's a Lombax.
it is now.
After you've had enough of them, yes, it can.
Yeah, after you've had 5, it doesn't fucking matter what they're called anymore, Reb.
Fantastic.
I would love another, like, low-key, Ratchet and Clank is still... Brandon, it came out, what, 2015?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, 2015. It
came out
4 years later?
No, it was like 2016, wasn't it? Because
It was 16. It was 16.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
It
sure.
came out the same time as Doom and Overwatch.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, 3 years later, it's still one of the most beautiful games available on console. Like, that is a fine-looking... Reb, have you played Ratchet and Clank, the remake?
No.
Oh, you really need to.
Yeah, highly
Isn't that like another fucking mascot platformer? Like, I don't know.
It is, but it is so
it's a
wholesome
platform
and beautiful. And
I think I did like ukulele that year or whatever.
John, I'm not sure if wholesome is the right name. Half of the game's titles are innuendos, and
I mean, Upper Arsenal.
I don't know. I don't play any
that was
games
my
that talk about sex. I only play wholesome Fire Emblem.
What the fuck else happened this week? Like, we covered Gamescom.
Okay, no. Gamescom, there was a game announced during the Nindies Direct. Or the indie, whatever the fuck they're calling it now.
Indie World Showcase or something.
Yeah, whatever we're doing now. We're just calling it that now for whatever. There was a game called Best Friend Forever that is...
the dog dating game.
It's a dating sim where you date humans, but all the humans have dogs. So you adopt a dog and like take care of the dog, and then you also date people. And like the team is like mostly women and queer people, and they're super focused on like body positivity and diversity. And the whole game is just dogs, gay shit, and romance. And I love it. I am so excited for this dog gay date game.
We have an appointment to play it at PAX next week.
Oh yeah, I do too. It's the very last thing I'm doing before I'm hopping on a plane and leaving.
Do we know when it's coming out yet, or
Valentine's Day, I think.
Oh, perfect.
It's my Valentine's Day present to myself.
What's the game called again?
Best
Friends Forever.
Best Friends Forever. Best Friends Forever. Like,
I did see that.
Well, and it's like
it was cute. It was really cute.
Well, not only is it cute, but it is like it's so cool to see this level of representation. in games now.
Well, it's indies because again, indies have been. This is like we're not even talking about this tonight, but there was this whole thing where one of the platforms or whatever, somebody made some dumbass statement where they like made a Pride Parade video game, and they were like, as far as we know, we think we're the only LGBTQ game coming out this year, and I'm like, you can like fly into the sun. There are so many. But they're not getting attention because we have like, mainstream game. We're all too focused on Death Stranding and everything else, whatever, which is fine. Like great games too. But that doesn't mean those games don't exist. Yeah, no, it's fine. We can like multiple things at the same time. It's okay. But yeah, anyway, Best Friend Forever is a super queer game, and there are plenty of queer games.
So the concept behind Best Friends Forever, it is a dating sim, but you also have to take care of everybody's dogs, right? Like that's an important part. Like what exactly does that entail? Do you just pet the dog? Do you feed the dog? Like do you have to take the dog for a walk? What exactly like how does the dog figure into all this? Because honestly, if I was playing a dating sim and I had a choice, I would just focus on the fucking dog and ignore my date, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think it's both, right? So like you start by picking a dog to adopt and you take care of the dog, and then I think you take the dog with you to go meet other people. And the other people also have dogs, and so it's kind of like an icebreaker, and your dog like helps you meet people. I don't know. We haven't played it yet. We don't know.
This sounds suspiciously like the stuff I used to do before I got married. Like I would bring my dog to the park and be like, "Hey, what's up? Check out my cute dog. You like my cute dog? Look how I'm really good at playing with my dog. It shows my sensitive side." I used to do that all the time, and it never worked. Not once.
I just love like if you watch the trailer. I just love if you watch the trailer, there's like a part where they kind of like do a little slide through a bunch of the different characters in the game, and they are all different sizes and shapes and colors. Like it's so good. And the art's really nice.
No,
that's especially
I'm attracted to all of them.
That's especially nice for a dating sim too, because like dating sims tend to have, very narrow like body types and stuff. Like it is fun that it's like, oh, this is more of like an actual sim dating sim instead of just like fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like in general, I've read some, and I like dating sims. I haven't played a ton of them, but I've liked the ones that I played. My general impression is that dating sims have been kind of more on the forefront of, addressing queer issues and like addressing diversity of all kinds and giving people options like that.
Okay,
but the problem
I haven't seen that in my experience, like with, I mean, obviously I'm not that, familiar with the genre. I do know there is a lot of queer representation, but in terms of body types, I was not aware that they actually.
My impression is that there is, and I haven't like personally played a whole ton of them, but I've read articles where people are like, no, actually we've been doing this for years. And the thing is, there's kind of a negative attitude toward it's similar to walking sims, right? Like people look at visual novel games in general and dating sims in particular, and they're like, that's not a real game. Like fuck that, that's not a real game. Like that's so lazy, and that's not true. Like it's a fucking game. It's a game if they say it's a game. Like at PAX East, John, do you remember? I don't know if you were with us at this point, but on the very first night we were there, the day before PAX East actually opened, there was that little like indie show that we went to, and there was a guy there that was showing us his Picross dating sim. And he was telling us.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that one.
I think it was like me, Derek, and maybe like Finn and Maddie or something. But he was telling us about this dating sim he was making, and it's like a Picross game dating sim combo. And he was so excited to tell us about this game, and like it was just infectious. Like the game's coming to PC and Switch sometime next year, and like I'm gonna keep an eye out. Like especially when you get a chance to like see the developers talk about these types of games, like they're really, really passionate about these sorts of things. And like this game seems like one where you can tell that they're very passionate about, this varied representation and everything. So it'll be really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm glad. I'm glad that we're finally getting something that is kind of, catering to everybody. Like this seems like it is trying to be all inclusive, and that's something.
I mean, again, dating has been doing that for a while. I think we've had a couple dating sims lately that have gone viral, I guess, in a way. Like shit, what
Dream
was
Daddy?
Dream Daddy was a really big one. This one I think will probably go that way too. What was the one with fucking Monica? The parody, not the parody, the weird
Monica?
Oh God, Doki Doki Literature Club. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a big like turn upside down on dating sims, but that one went crazy because it was like super sorry. That one went places because it was just super dark by the end. But so like dating sims are kind of starting to edge their way into mainstream, but there's just kind of a tendency. And Boyfriend Dungeon is another one. That one I think just won an award. Congrats to that game. That game's great. It's a game where you like go through. It's like dungeon crawling, and you find swords in the dungeon, and then the swords turn into boyfriends when you.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
It's
fucking great. Yeah, Tanya X Short is amazing. But yeah, so they're doing these things, and I mean the one a few years ago with the pigeons, like that was a big deal too.
Hatoful Boyfriend?
Bird, yeah.
Hatoful Boyfriend.
Hatoful Boyfriend,
Yes.
whatever that is.
Hatable? I thought it was Hatoful or Hatoful.
I don't know.
I can't pronounce
That
that.
was
Like there's these
that
games
one-
like they hit like mainstream and people are like, oh, a good dating sim. I'm like, no, there's so many good ones. You don't play them because you don't think visual novels are really games. And so I'm hoping that now that we're getting some of them.
Are games.
I know we do, but like mainstream internet culture does not. And I'm hoping since we're seeing them like in the Nindies trailer, that's a really good sign. We're gonna see they're taking it to PAX. I presume people are gonna go play it. Like, I mean, I signed up for an appointment for it at PAX based entirely on the fact that the PR said we have a game about dogs, and I'm like, yep, there, gotcha. I want that.
I've got a question. Speaking of visual novels, like this is a little off topic, but I saw somebody tweet about it today, and I just want to ask. I've never played an Ace Attorney. Do I need to?
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay, should I pick up the one on Switch then? Like, is that the one I need to play?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
I have like the
played
big
them before.
compilation on mobile. I haven't gone through all of them, but I enjoy them quite a bit.
Yeah, I hadn't played them before, but I picked them up on recommendation on 3DS, and I fell in love. They're quite fantastic, extremely silly, just profoundly silly in the.
They're
best way.
very silly.
Cool.
Oh, I
like
love
it.
them. Yeah, no, they're good. Yeah, pick them up.
Yeah, John.
It's a really
Imran,
good chill one to play too.
Imran also mentioned in chat Danganronpa. I think you would enjoy that.
Danganronpa? Yeah, no, I've always wanted to try Danganronpa.
I think you'd enjoy
so many
it.
fucking games to play that I
really
can't.
Funny and really twisted. I played the first one and I loved it.
It's too many fucking video games.
Questionable
Apparently
redrawn
Danganronpa
sprites
is
in the
not for
Switch
me
version.
because it has murder in
Maybe
it.
I'll pick it up. Where else is Ace Attorney available?
It is a game about.
It's a murder
solving
game.
Murders. It
It's
is
a murder game.
Is Ace Attorney? It's a 3DS game originally, right?
Oh, Ace Attorney
DS.
goes, yeah, DS. It's further back. But they did. If you're still playing your 3DS, they did a compilation of it. But I guess there's Switch ones now.
Game Boy Advance.
Oh, it might have
I
been.
guess it was.
Actually, no.
It was
Brandon's right.
I don't know.
It was Game Boy Advance
there it is.
originally. Although it sounds like from what I'm seeing in chat that the Switch version has kind of some really dodgy redrawn sprites, so I might just go for like the 3DS version.
Yeah, but if you don't know, I mean, if you don't realize that they've been redrawn, like, you probably don't care. It's only people who have seen the original ones that
Gotta
care.
have my sprites though. So Rab, you know me, I'm a purist.
I mean,
But how can you be a purist if you've never seen the original?
John, I have like the mobile compilation of the Ace Attorney stuff. The redrawn stuff looks really, really good. It's really sharp HD art. It's not like
that would require John to play something on mobile.
And that's just not going to happen. Sorry, Justin. Although I will say the one mobile game that I've played that Reb got me to play, Florence, was really good.
Mm-hmm. And there are more. There's so many good mobile games. I bet Ace Attorney is really good on mobile, actually, Justin. Did you like it on mobile?
Yeah. I've played the first 2, I think. I can't remember because like I picked it up and then put it down and then started over and then finished one and then got through others. I can't remember how many of them I played, but I like them.
I like where this chat is going, by the way. I like where this chat is going.
We're not talking about that. I had a moment like 2 or 3 days ago where I woke up and my very first thought was, why the fuck did I make a bet with John that we're not going to have a Nintendo Direct in September?
Because we absolutely are, right?
Like that, yeah, like that was a really dumb bet. I mean, I don't know anything. I have no knowledge of future Nintendo Direct. But like, I think
believe you made that bet. I was like, we're
realistically, we are probably going to have a Direct in September.
Also,
I might get lucky and it might be in October, but we're going to have one in the fall.
Reb,
yeah.
I think you're gonna lose because GameStop just did its like we added 18 new
Switch SKUs,
which happens before Directs a lot.
Okay, GameStop can go kick rocks though.
It will, yes, GameStop.
GameStop can kick rocks. No, but I don't care. Like I always think it's fine if I lose, because if I lose, I get a free copy of Final Fantasy 14 apparently, or whatever. I play a new game that I've not played before and become more knowledgeable about said game. And 3, I get a Nintendo Direct. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I think you're gonna love it personally.
Yeah, no, I'll happily lose. I'm a better loser than you, John.
I think you will.
That's true.
I just want the satisfaction of actually winning a fucking bet for once. Like, that's really all I care about.
I just think it's a weird clarifying moment where I was like, why the fuck did I make this?
F-Tendo,
this is a really dumb bet.
I want to say hello to F-Tendo in chat. First time watching you. Great show. You know what?
Welcome.
I'm going to gift you a sub.
Welcome. Happy you're here.
I'm going to gift you a sub, F-Tendo, so you could get that sweet sake emoji. Everybody in chat, spam the sake emoji. You're gonna get that sweet sake emoji that you're gonna see here. Boom! Look at that. Look at that.
I love sake. We need to have like sake. We need to. Where's Finn? We need. I know why sake's not on. That's okay.
Yeah.
He'll come back.
Yeah, he'll come back. He'll be back. Finn will be back. So we do have some questions to answer tonight. Look at that. Oh god, that's so much sake happening in the chat right now. F-Tendo, you better spam that sake chat. I paid for this shit for you. You better spam it. So we got some questions on Twitter that we're going to answer tonight. We got some good ones, too. So let's start with at DJ Stormageddon on Twitter. What dormant franchise would you like to see make a comeback?
Ooh. I feel like we answer this a lot. Today.
Legacy of Kain. I would fucking love to see Legacy. Oh, hey, Belinda in chat. What's up, Belinda?
Hey, Belinda.
I'd fucking love to see Legacy of Kain, because Simon Templeman's fucking voice acting for Kain is awesome. The writing in some of those games is some of the best ever, and just like great vampire stories. Legacy of Kain was fucking awesome. If you've never played Legacy of Kain or any of those games, go back and correct yourself. Play Blood Omen, play Soul Reaver. Those games were fucking great. Great fucking games. Legacy of Kain. Or Panzer Dragoon, my second choice.
That's already coming back.
But the
are
remake.
We getting a remake?
Yes. We are getting a remake.
We are getting a remake of Panzer Dragoon.
Yes.
We are indeed. Reb, what is a franchise that you would like to see? And I feel like we should set a rule on this one, right? Like, we can't have had a game in this for... let's say a decade, roughly.
Oh, are you shitting me? Well, then ask someone else. I already had something.
Well, if you've already got something, then go ahead, Reb. There's no rules in this podcast.
Making up rules, whatever. Besides, you can't say Panzer Dragoon because we're getting one. This is like maybe a hot take. I want to see Wii Fit come to the Switch.
Wii Fit?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to explain this one.
So I really like Wii Fit. I didn't play the original, but I played, Two-Headed Giant, that's where I'm going next. I played, obviously that's where I have to go next. I played Wii Fit U when I had first started freelancing, and this was like maybe, I don't know, like 5 years ago at this point, almost 6 years ago, because I was freelancing and I was pushing really, really hard to, kind of push this. I guess it was a little bit more recently than that. I was trying to get into this industry, and I was working like nonstop. I was working a full-time job, and I was also freelancing in my spare time, and I wasn't happy with how, I wasn't physically fit, and I was really frustrated with myself. I did not have time to go out and exercise. So I would get Wii Fit U out and I would do the exercises in that. And it wasn't like super hard cardio, but I felt really good afterward. And it helped me stay accountable because it, kind of very gently said, okay, hey, you haven't done this in a couple of days. Or it would tell me encouraging things, or, and the activities were kind of fun. Gamified, fitness and stretching and things like that. And I felt really good when I was playing it. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know what they would do about the balance board situation. I think that would be kind of maybe questionable. Maybe they would have to make a new one or something. But I think the Joy-Cons are a natural fit for this kind of thing.
Really
because
are.
They do have the straps and they're not these giant clunky Wiimotes, and I think it would make really good sense.
Labo balance board.
No, I don't want to stand on
your
cardboard.
Sweat would destroy that thing in 5 minutes.
If I tried to stand on a cardboard,
Can you imagine
balance
that?
board, that
Justin,
thing would
if
be
I tried to stand on a cardboard, no. My other obvious one is, of course, Golden Sun. I do not want a sequel to Dark Dawn. I think Dark Dawn was a terrible choice on someone's part. I would love for them to either reboot it in some way or remake it or whatever. But yeah, Golden Sun needs to come back.
I'd love to see a Golden Sun return.
Absolutely one of the best RPGs ever. Just so good.
It's the last one we got was on the DS, Reb.
No, that game's dead to me.
Brandon, what about you? Brandon, what about give us a franchise that has been long dormant that you would like to see return?
Yeah, it's hard to think of one. I think the last one in this series was on the DS, but it was Bangayo from Treasure.
It was Bangayo. Yeah.
Some name with like Bangayo and then like 2 words where the initials are DNS. I think.
I thought you said Ben Gay for a minute. I was like,
if they want to make a game out of Ben Gay, however, they
go right ahead.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, Bango. I like big robots shooting lots of missiles. It's
that's old school, dude.
That was a Treasure game, right?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep, side-scrolling. It's not a bullet hell game as much as it's sort of like it's like a platformer more than anything. It's a puzzle game actually. It's a lot of things. It's great.
Justin, what about you?
It was like it was on the N64, the Dreamcast, the DS, and it just hasn't been.
It was a DS game, Brandon?
Yeah, it was not as good as the N64 and Dreamcast.
Oh, okay.
One. There was a DS.
I had fucking forgotten all about that shit, dude.
Yeah, the Dreamcast Bango is the best one.
Justin.
So, two-headed giant, I'm not even kidding, just said what I was going to say. In chat, two-headed
Donkey
giant.
Konga?
Thank you. Donkey Konga.
Fuck that.
Donkey Konga!
Gotta do something with those bongos.
Jesus.
That game was so much fun. Or wait, am I getting the name wrong? What's the one that was the platformer you played at the bongos?
Jungle Beat? That was
Jungle Beat.
Jungle Beat.
I'm sorry, Jungle Beat. Jungle Beat was one of the most fun platformers I have ever played. Like it felt like a combination of a rhythm. It was a combination of a rhythm game and a platformer. It was great. Like I love the idea of blending like rhythm with action in games, and like that game was a really great like implementation of it. It was just a blast.
It would also be a really good excuse for Nintendo to release a new set of congas. You could call them the Joy Congas. Like
perfect,
dude.
It's perfect.
Yeah, dude. It fucking literally writes itself. Joy Congas.
Holy shit, Joy Congas! Oh my god.
Although they're called bongos, so maybe
Reb,
it wouldn't.
You know you fucking love it. Joy Congas is brilliant.
It's great. Okay.
Everybody get on Twitter right now. # Joy Congas. Get that shit going.
Bring back Wario Land. Fuck. There's so many good franchises.
So there's
make a point on every podcast to say that we need more Wario Land games. Holy shit.
Wario Land.
I'm never gonna shut up about Wario Land.
It's one of the greatest platformers ever.
It's so good.
I'll give you that. It's fucking
Holy
real. And on my modded Game Boy Advance, it looks real fucking good with that AGS 101 backlit screen. Fucking crisp.
Are you trying to sell this modded Game Boy Advance, John?
What's that?
Are you like a shill for the Game Boy Advance mod community? What are you talking?
Yes, I am, because it's fucking gorgeous.
What are you doing? Did Wario have nipples in Wario Land 4? Since you have the HD, whatever the
If
fuck.
I could mod Wario Land 4 to prove or disprove once and for all that Wario has nipples, I would do it. I'm gonna find a way to do it, Rob, just for you. I'm gonna make it happen. Another question from @RealShaneJ. What's next for Mario? Odyssey 2, more ports, big 2D title, Mario RPG 2, and I'm talking major title, not Mario Maker or Mario Party type titles. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's absolutely Odyssey 2.
Oh yeah.
Period.
Wait, what?
What is going to be the next big Mario game?
Oh.
We got Galaxy 2. It's going to be Odyssey 2. They're not.
I think it's going to be an Odyssey 2. I think that's.
Yeah, that seems pretty fair.
I think there's.
I mentioned this on Twitter. I really, really want a port of 3D World for Switch because
I think it's inevitable.
I never had a Wii U. I only got a 3DS a couple years ago, and I loved 3D Land, the 2DS. I would really, really like to play 3D World.
So, well, I think there's so much more, and I think you're going to get a 3D World port. I really do. I think there's so much more to mine in the Odyssey games. Like, Reb, let me throw this at you. Imagine a Super Mario Odyssey 2 with a world based on Isle Delfino.
Actually, my extremely like wild gamer theory, Twitter ass bullshit idea of what that. So the reason why the whole situation with Mario Sunshine came up earlier today is because Nintendo published a tweet where they were, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't have the exact wording, but it was basically like, hope your summer Odysseys were great and full of sunshine.
Full of sunshine, yeah.
Yeah, it specifically used the words Odyssey and sunshine, and it had this render that we've seen before, apparently, of Mario eating watermelon.
Only he didn't have shoes. I've never seen his feet before. It was kind of off-putting.
It was a little off-putting. He had toenails. That was strange.
It was weird, yeah.
But like the text of that, they were being cheeky, but my big wild Twitter theory is that they're adding some kind of DLC to Odyssey that is going to involve sunshine. Because if you recall, in the original like pre-release maps that we saw of that game, there was like a little island in the corner that looked just like Isle Delfino. So I mean, that's like this wild theory. I know jack shit. Of course, I'm probably wrong. I am not going to be making any bets about this.
Well, no, Reb,
but I would love that. God,
I don't think you're wrong. Reb, I don't think you're wrong. I was convinced for a while they were going to add DLC to Odyssey because it makes sense, right? Like do a Luigi's Mansion world where everything's haunted, do an Isle Delfino world. But honestly, I think that was probably planned at some point, but it's just going to become Super Mario Odyssey 2.
I think the thing about Odyssey 2 that like confused me is I genuinely did not. So Breath of the Wild and Odyssey have been like the two real big games that they've done so far.
Right.
I mean, they've done tons of games on the Switch, but those are like the two just like fucking home run hitters, right? And they're both like, there's sirens in the background. They're both like new entries in these huge franchises that Nintendo has. And I genuinely did not think that Breath of the Wild 2 was. I thought there was no fucking way. I mean, people were like,
well, because we never had a direct sequel to a Zelda game,
right? Well, that's arguable.
No. I'm sorry. A Link Between Worlds. I'm sorry.
Still arguable. But yeah, like I didn't think there was any fucking way. I thought that was just some sort of crazy pipe dream. But they're doing it. They're actually fucking doing it. But I don't know that they would do it with Mario as well. I know they did it with Galaxy. I just don't know where they're going with this. Like, I think it's more likely that they're working on porting more of the Wii U Mario games onto Switch, possibly teasing a Sunshine remake. I don't know. Like, I'm a little skeptical about an Odyssey 2. I don't know if that's where they're going with this.
I mean, I do think that it's inevitable that 3D World gets ported. I mean, the writing's on the. I think that's absolutely going to be a thing.
I hope so. I love that game.
3D World is fucking great.
Yeah,
especially after New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe hit 2 million. Yeah, 3D World is absolutely coming. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like announced at this Direct coming up in Saturday in September. To be honest with you, Brandon, do you have any Mario? I know you're not a huge Nintendo guy.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Mario fan, but I like the old ones. It's gonna be. I mean, as far as the question goes, yeah, it's gonna be Odyssey 2.
Okay. I think either Odyssey 2 or a 3D World port. I think either one is just as likely as the other.
I would personally love to see them just like I mean, I would love to see a Sunshine remake, but I would really love to see them do something like. I guess Mario Maker was it, right? Like I don't like the 3D worlds and the I don't like the 2D Mario platformers anymore, like the really basic platformers that they keep doing. I think Mario Maker is an absolutely fucking brilliant idea. But, there's kind of this thought that, like, okay, maybe they'll put, like, a 3D World 2 or, like some new iteration on whatever that format is and have that be a new game for the Switch. And I just, like, I'm so bored by it. I hope they don't. Like, I hope they just find something else interesting to do.
I would love for the next big Mario game on Switch to be Super Mario RPG 2. But, that's just me.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's a real good game.
And let the team behind Kingdom Battle actually develop it. Because those guys have a very clear reverence for the world of Mario. Another question. I love this question, actually. This is from @Lervinar on Twitter. The question always posed is, what game do you wish you could experience for the first time? I'd like to shift that a bit. What soundtrack do you wish you could discover again?
Oh.
I thought this was fucking great. And and I thought about this all day long, and I think the answer for me has got to be Secret of Evermore on Super Nintendo. It was a lot of people don't know this, but Jeremy Soule was 16 years old, and this was his first game. This was the first game that he might have been a little older, but he was in his teens, and he did the oh, look at that, Reb's kitty. He did the music for Secret of Evermore, which was the only Squaresoft. They were Squaresoft at the time. They had set up a U.S. studio. This was the only game that studio ever actually developed, and it was criminally underrated. I consider it to be better than Secret of Mana in every conceivable way.
It's better if you're playing by yourself.
It's just such a good fucking game, and the soundtrack to the game, like the soundtrack for Secret of Evermore, go to YouTube and listen to a track called Podunk 19. I think it's Podunk 1964, and just it is such a haunting. The soundtrack itself is haunting and melancholy, and it is just fucking. It is great. One of the finest OSTs in the entire industry, and the game is never talked about because it was kind of forgotten by time. But yeah, Secret of Evermore would be mine. Fucking fantastic sound. Brandon, what about you?
It's hard. Earthbound.
Oh, that's a good one.
It wasn't that hard. Yeah. I mean, Earthbound has such a insane variety of like different styles of music across. It's like you don't know what you're in store for, like just, exploring the first town and dungeon and stuff. Like the music is just so eclectic that like there's a lot to discover there.
I think the battle with Gigas is one of the best tracks in the entire game, just because it's so chaotic and terrifying, and it just like that whole sequence, Brandon, just put me off.
Yeah,
in a good way.
I love me some Earthbound.
In a good way. Reb, what about you?
That's so tough. There's a lot of like individual musical moments I think I wish I could re-experience, like the first time you go to another world in Chrono Cross, the first time you enter the Elemental Star room in Golden Sun, the first time you hear the weird ass shit is going on in Wario Land 4. I don't know, like the first time I realized Temple of Time in Breath of the Wild was the Temple of Time music, but like broken because the temple was literally broken, like super symbolic. I think my actual answer is probably what I mentioned on the podcast earlier, Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. Because it's this indie game that came out 2 years ago, last year, something like that. And you're basically like playing this kind of character who's been cursed by the devil to roam the United States during the Great Depression.
Oh, that's cool.
And you're like hearing different people's stories as you go along and like listening to their stories. And then you take their stories that you've heard and then you move on and you tell someone else their story, and you keep sharing these stories. And as you tell them and as they get told around the United States, they start to grow into myths and legends. And it's very much a game about storytelling, about the struggles of people, people dealing with like race issues, people dealing with poverty, like all the kind of the idea of manifest destiny, all these different things. It's really good. But the soundtrack is fantastic. The soundtrack is like, okay. The soundtrack is like this incredible, like, oh God, like folk music, like all custom written for it with like vocals and all this really great shit. And it has this song called Vagrant Song. And when I first played the game, I was really fucking annoyed because Vagrant Song plays all constantly on the world map. Like it's the same song with the same lines. And I was really annoyed because by the end of the game, I was just humming along with it the whole time. I was like, God, I know every word of the song now. But it's different depending on what region you're in. So there's like a different version for Appalachia. There's a different version for the Midwest. There's a different version for the Pacific Coast and for the Southwest. There's one in Spanish. There's one that's instrumental. They all have different instrumentations and different voices singing them. And it's like, it's one of those games that when I played it through, I didn't appreciate it, but after walking away from it, it sticks in my mind, and the music sticks in my mind. And I have a lot of video game soundtracks on my playlists, but I don't have a lot of video game soundtracks on my playlist for stuff that I sing to, and that one absolutely is. And it's cool. it's really good. And I wish I could experience it for the first time again, like maybe as a slightly older, wiser person, and maybe appreciate it a little bit more the very first time I go into it.
That's really, Reb, that was really meaningful. Thank you.
Yeah, go play Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. It's a really interesting game. And it's a lot, apparently, like Death Stranding. Walking across the United States, making connections. I don't know, east to west.
Only without the piss and mushrooms.
Same game.
Justin, what about you, man?
I think for me, it would have to be Super Metroid.
Ooh, good choice.
The music in that game still like
the best in the entire series.
It's still so it's just still so evocative of each region. It's still so atmospheric. Like, I'm not good at talking about music like like this, but like it's one of the first games that like the music really deeply resonated with me.
Well, I think it's that sense of solitude and loneliness. It really delivers it.
And like also like that series also has kind of recreated the moments where I was, listening to Super Metroid soundtrack. I still remember. I'll never forget the first time I booted up Metroid Prime and heard that menu screen music.
Oh my god, yeah. I replayed Metroid Prime earlier this year, Justin, on Wii U, and it just every time, man,
I'm not starting the game now. This is all I need.
It's so fucking good. All right, so we've got time for one more. And this is a question from Dio, our friend Dio. What is the best story in gaming for the crew and why? Man,
this is just so hard.
This is a tough one. Honestly,
wait, say it again.
What is the best story in gaming for the crew and why?
Oh shit! Wow.
This might actually have to wait so I can think about it.
Best story in gaming.
Because I know that the minute I drop an answer, I'm gonna want to.
You're gonna think of like 10 other things that are even better.
Yeah. And so why don't we agree to?
Why don't we all just name one that we think is good, like that just comes to mind, that maybe isn't the best one in the world, but maybe shoot for one that we haven't talked about a lot on the show before, because like I'm automatically thinking of a bunch of games I've already mentioned on the show before.
Yeah.
And so now I'm trying to think of one that I have not discussed on the show before.
Reb, do you want to kick us off, or do you want somebody else to go?
No, I don't, because I don't have an idea yet.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Brandon, what about you? Do you want to go?
Brandon?
Nope.
Brandon doesn't want to go.
All right.
Brandon, you're muted, by the way.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I was sitting here talking to myself again. No, it's too hard.
Oh, okay, I've got mine.
Okay, go ahead, Reb.
One that comes to mind that I have not spoken about on this podcast before that I can remember. I think Rime. Rime is really good. It's I think that's published by Tequila Works. I think that's correct.
I think so.
It came out a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure 2016, maybe 2017. 2017 is probably right. And the story is you play as this little boy who gets washed up on an island, kind of this weird island full of like mysterious ruins, and it's a puzzle. It's like a puzzle action platformer kind of thing. You explore this island. There's some puzzles. Most of the puzzles have to do with things like light and shadow, moving things around. There's no dialogue. It's a very visual story. It's a couple years old. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the ending. And I apologize if you have ever any intention of playing Rime, please like mute us for a few minutes and come back, because the ending of Rime like really genuinely turns how you see the entire game. And it's like, I don't often say that you need to play a game to the very end to get it. I think that's not fair. I think that if I'm not hooked in the first couple hours, then it's not fair. But I really think that with Rime, you actually need to beat it. And then all of a sudden, everything takes on this whole new characterization. So you play as this little boy. And as you're exploring this island, there's this man that you keep seeing in a red cloak. And he keeps appearing off in the distance. And as you move toward him, he'll like vanish. You'll like go around a corner, and then when you come back, he's like gone. And you kind of get this impression that like you'll see kind of these weird like flashback things where you're on a boat and the man is like falling off the boat and drowning and you're trying to save him. And so there's kind of this understanding that the relationship is like a son and his father, and the father has died. And the boy is like regretting and trying to save him. And you go through this whole game, and there's so many puzzles that deal with like kind of the idea of loss or losing something or filling a gap or there's like there's one puzzle where there's a shadow of a father statue, and then you have to fill in the shadow of the son with the light shining behind you to move forward. And you play this whole game assuming that you're a son trying to deal with the grief of losing his father, and then at the very end, the very, very last stage of the game, you realize the whole thing was this strange dream by a father who has just lost his son in a sailing accident of some sort. And he's the entire game was based on the 5 stages of grief. And you actually go back to the menu if you want to replay the stages, and you pick the stage that you want to do. And the whole thing was him like trying to process his grief. And I played it twice. I played it through once, and then I played it through a second time with a friend who had never played a video game before in her life. And I was enjoying like working with her through playing the video game for the first time and like helping her learn what video games were. But also I was seeing this game in a whole new light as I played through it the second time, because like the puzzles you're getting, the first time you're playing through, you're getting the impression you're the son, and the father is like, there's this other statue of an adult that's there. And so you're thinking, oh, there's this figure that's missing in his life. But really the empty space was where the son was. And so it was you that was missing. It wasn't the father. And there's this shape that's like a keyhole, that like all the doors in the game are this keyhole, and there's keyholes all over the place, and you're constantly filling them. And the very last scene of the game is the father sitting in his room, and he's holding a key in his hands, and he's dreading going into his son's room for the first time since his son's death. And he has to go, unlock the door. And he's just dwelling on the fact that he has to approach this keyhole and deal with it. And at the end of the game, he finally does it, and he grieves. And it's just, I mean, I'm not a parent. I've never dealt with anything remotely close to that loss, but I felt it like, as much as anyone can feel empathy for that kind of thing in a game. And it was really beautiful. There's also like you're playing through the game, and there's all these collectibles, and they're kind of like little things. Like there's a little, like a seagull collectible, and there's like a little fox that, kind of follows you around. You collect all these little toys, and you think, oh, it's collectibles, whatever. And then depending on which ones you picked up at the end of the game when you go into the boy's room, they were his toys. And if you picked it up, then the father can kind of pick it up and like remember his son playing with it, and he puts it down. And it's just like, it's amazing. The whole thing's done without words. Even if you don't play the game, hop on Spotify, look for the soundtrack, the music of Rhyme, R-I-M-E. It's absolutely incredible. It's so beautiful. And I think it was one of the most affecting stories. A lot of people kind of like said whatever. Like the puzzles they're easy. It's not a challenging game.
It's more about the journey.
It really is. And I again, like I say, it's about an 8 to 10 hour game. I really don't think that it's fair to say, oh, well, you have to beat the game. You have to beat the game to understand it. You have to beat the game to love it. But I think in this case, it's so short, and the game itself is not bad. Like it's an enjoyable to play through. But I think hitting that end really just changes how you feel about it. And that game, it's one of the best stories I've ever played through.
I played through it, and as a father who is very close to his son, like that ending fucking got me. Like,
oh yeah, I can't even imagine how much that would have fucked you up. It's so good. But it's hard.
Reb, that was great. Yeah.
I love that game.
I'll give mine very quickly, simply because I don't want to if you haven't played it, you need to, because I'm not going to tell you what the ending scene is. But it's a game that I've never mentioned on this podcast before. It's a platformer. It's a Metroidvania, actually, called Owlboy.
I love Owlboy.
Owlboy is fucking awesome.
Oh, that's good.
It is legitimately one of the most beautiful pixel art games in existence. And it's the story. It's basically a clan of owl people, like anthropomorphic owls, and you play as Otis. And Otis is mute, so he talks through the game. Basically, you have to look at his face and look at his gestures and understand how he's feeling. And all I'll say about Owlboy is that the final scene of the game in the ending is shattering.
It's really good. I love Owlboy. That's a really good call.
It was like the end is so meaningful, and when you and I was just like, oh man, what an end to that fucking game. And the whole ending sequence had me thinking for days. And please, if you haven't played Owlboy, do yourself a favor, go pick it up. It is so fucking good. That one ends up being a really, and I
can't
gets
really
dark.
It does get dark. I can't really attest to this because I don't have these life experiences, but it ends up being an interesting commentary on disability. Yeah. And what it means. And I don't know. I appreciated it for that.
It's a fucking great game. Brandon, what about you?
I don't really have one. After those, like, Jesus. Like, specifically, you're saying one that I haven't mentioned on the show before?
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it's just a guideline.
I mean, because my favorite story in the game is Final Fantasy VII, but like...
for once, John did not.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's been 20 years. What do you want from me?
That's fine, Brandon. That's fine. You can like the video games you like.
All right,
but also, yeah, like the story is like, yeah, a guy finds out he's a magic experiment and wants to destroy the world. It doesn't really compare to Rhyme.
But I mean, Brandon, who among us has not been magically experimented on with Mako energy and turned into a Sephiroth clone? Who among us has not experienced this, Brandon?
Who's among us?
Brandon's done. Okay, Justin, go ahead.
So I've probably mentioned the game on the show before, but I was trying to think of one that I hadn't mentioned as much as some of the others that were going through my mind. And it's What Remains of Edith Finch. That game is...
Which game?
One of the... What Remains of Edith Finch.
Ooh, it was either Owlboy or Edith Finch for me, man.
It's one of the most touching games I think I've ever played. I'm just going to describe the base concepts for it because I think part of the fun of the game is just the sheer is the variety in it and being surprised by some of the gameplay scenarios that come up. But essentially, you play as Edith Finch. And she is returning to her old family home and exploring the various rooms of her ancestors. And basically in each room, you will then... There's like a short vignette that you play with each character that reflects their personality. And they say their family is cursed to all die at young ages or of very, sad circumstances. So you basically play through the death of each character. Sorry, I'm very tired this week. So you kind of play through the final moments of each of the various members of her family, and each scene is so the sheer variety in each scene is shocking. And so many of those scenes hit me so hard. And some of them even feel almost...
Especially the bathtub, Justin.
Yes. That was what I was thinking of. Because that scene... Some of these scenes even feel almost uplifting at times. And then you remember the tragedy of the scene. Yeah. And it really hits you as a player, and you see how much of these people's personalities are reflected in these little gameplay segments and their rooms as you explore. It's a really, really touching game. It's one of my all-time favorites. I highly, highly recommend you guys check out What Remains of Edith.
That's a good choice.
Yeah,
Great
one of the other things that I love about that is that something that people tend to obsess over in games is they like the lore, they want to know all the answers, they want to find out the truth about everything. And kind of one of the things that Edith Finch does is it leaves some questions just fucking unanswered. There's the one son that you just never find out what happened to him.
Oh, actually that is answered. That's an Easter egg.
Oh, fuck off, Justin. Okay, well
it's actually...
Don't tell me.
I'll tell you after we go off.
No, I don't want to know. That's my point, right? I walked away from that game, and there was...
No, Reb, you might actually like it because it's still not clear, but you have a new game, you have another game to play then.
Whatever. Okay, you can tell me later. But
sorry.
Well, the point I was going to make before Justin ruined it is that there's some things about this game that are just unknowable, right? You don't have answers. And you don't, even without the whole thing with the sun, there's some shit that you just don't have answers for. You don't really have, you have ideas that maybe there was some mental illness things going on. Maybe something happened to this character. Maybe it was all just in everybody's heads, but you never really quite pin down exactly what certain things were going on or what became of certain characters. And that's fine. Like sometimes things are just unknowable, and it's okay not to know them, and it's okay to walk away from them. And I thought that was one of the beautiful things about that game.
God, what a fucking great game. After I finished Edith Finch, I remember sitting down here in my little room here with the lights off and just listening to that menu theme for like an hour. Just thinking about what I just experienced. What a great fucking game. We are bumping up on time here. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up. I want to remind everybody that a bunch of us will be at PAX West next week. I will once again be the Hope Booth coordinator for TakeThis.org. So if you stop on by the Diversity Lounge, you can check us out up there. Please stop by. Don't forget the AFK room, which is a place you can go chill out if the stress of the convention starts kind of pressing you down. And Reb, you've got some PAX-related stuff that you wanted to mention as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm there for gamesindustry.biz. If you're running around, please say hi. If I look frantic or don't immediately notice you, it's because I'm running to an appointment that I'm late for, and I'm so sorry. I'm hosting a total of 4, and I'm a part of a total of 5, if you count another one. So I'm just going to run through them really quick. If you're at PAX, or I know some of them will probably end up appearing online at some point. The first one is on Saturday of PAX West, Saturday the 31st at 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. It's called Game Developers versus Crunch. I've got a couple game developers who are going to talk about their experiences with the crunch in the industry and kind of ways that they've found to avoid crunching. So, that's what the panel's about. It's pretty basic. Next one is on Saturday again at 6:30 p.m. Good news, everyone, a discussion of reporting on video games. I've got me, Matt Kim from IGN, Eric Van Allen from US Gamer, and Imran actually is on that as well. And we're going to talk about, kind of our jobs and what we do day to day as news writers in the games industry and kind of the challenges that come with that job. That'll be a fun time. The DM for that went wildly off the rails, but it'll be great. The next one is on Sunday at 6 p.m. It's called Give Peace a Chance, Death to Violent Games. If you're like me and you love super peaceful, happy, chill games, I've got some really cool people on there. Actually, if you've been following Skatebirds, Megan Fox is on there. Danny Weinbaum, East Shade, if any of you watched me stream that earlier this year, he's on my panel. Beck Saltzman from Finji is going to be there. And we're going to talk about peaceful games where you don't murder people, and it's going to be great. And then the last one is on Monday. It's called You Said Something Stupid on Social Media. I'm going to talk with some PR and comms people about kind of the general overview of this year and social media faux pas, and if you're some kind of up-and-coming person in the industry, if you want to, be a streamer or a podcaster or a writer or whatever you're doing, how to avoid saying dumb things on social media and what to do if you accidentally say something that's really problematic. And then the last one that I absolutely have to plug is not one I'm hosting. This is on Saturday the 31st at 9 p.m. This one will be live streamed, I'm sure. John and I are actually both a part of this. This is the annual Kind of Funny inter-website video game tournament. The two of us, I know Imran and Chad is on it. A couple of our friends, I think, have kind of indicated that they're on it.
Belinda's on it.
Belinda's on it? Okay.
Belinda's on it. Sydney Goodman from IGN is on it.
Cool.
I don't know if Jared is on it again.
I don't know. Gary Whitta is going to be on it this year.
Gary Whitta's on it this year, yeah. My redemption is at hand. That's all I know.
Fuck off, John.
What? Reb, I want you to know, Reb, you are a super close friend of mine, but for that hour, we're not friends anymore.
Whatever. Anyway, basically, this is a goof tournament from different websites, podcasts, and channels get together and have it's really fast paced but we basically just have a video game tournament and see who wins. And Greg
hopefully nobody steals the trophy again, Reb, and tries to run out of the room with it.
I'm not going to talk about that. But last year, we all lost at Overcooked, and it was great. So it should be fun. That one, I'm sure, will be streamed on Kind of Funny's channel. So
yeah, it was streamed last year, actually.
Yeah, it will be again. So at the very least, if you're not going to PAX, that one we know for a fact will be streamed. That's on Saturday the 31st at 9 p.m. Pacific. Definitely tune into Kind of Funny on Twitch and watch that tournament. Where it's such a good time. It's so much fun.
Watch me win.
Come to that's fact. Did you elaborate on the conflict reports that you did or did not beat? Okay, yeah, real quick. So So Greg Miller is wrong, but and I'm going to be very serious about this because I'm not trying to be cocky about this. Here's what happened: we were playing Super Sports Match-In, I think is what it's called, and I was in the first round. His made-up idea that I only beat him in the overall standings is invented because we were the first round, if I remember correctly, and we played and we tied. There were 3 of us. Somebody got 0. Greg and I each had 1 point, and in the game rankings, like it listed who got first, second, and third. It randomly picked who was first and second because Greg and I had tied, and it put him in first and me in second, and then the person who got 0 points in third. So we tied, but then it does the individual game rankings and the overall rankings over the course of the like set of matches you're doing. And in that one, it flipped us and it put me in front of him. We both had the same score. I was about ready to be really gracious and let him go on because fucking Greg Miller, like people are there to see Greg Miller, they're not there to see me. But he had a microphone and he was like, no, you're going on. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue with a man with a microphone. And so I went on. So my joke is that I beat him in a video game. I did not technically beat him in a video game, but I did tie him in a video game. And so if he's trying to claim that he actually won, then he's mistaken. It was a tie. I'm going to kick his ass this year. I'm going to kick his ass this year. That's fine. That's all that.
You're going to kick his ass this year, Reb?
I'm going to kick his ass this year.
Wow.
Actually, I think he kind of implied on kind of any game daily that he wasn't gonna be playing this year, which sucks. But I don't know if that's true. That may not be true.
Well, at any rate, if you want to see what happens, tune in to Kind of Funny on their Twitch channel. I'm sure that's where it'll be streamed, and check it out. It's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to PAX. I always love going to PAX and just seeing all my friends. If you see me walking around in my stupid beanie, you're at PAX, come up and say hi, please. Don't be scared away by my mean demeanor. I'm actually quite nice and huggable.
Yeah, Derek, Finn, and Jeff are going to be there too.
They will, absolutely. Derek's going to be there. Finn will be there. Jeff will be there. I'm so excited about Jeff coming. It's the first time I'm meeting Jeff in person for the first time ever. And it's good. It's just going to be fucking great. So anyway, we will go ahead and get out of here for the evening. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to hang out with us tonight. It was a rough week and for a lot of people, and we're glad that you came in here and did your best to forget it for a little while. And of course, it's not always poetry. We don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, please take care of each other and enjoy your video games. We will see you later.